did a video a few days ago on cucking, and it got quite a bit of interest. A lot of people looked at it, and I got a lot of people who are happy with the video. I got a lot of people who are very unhappy with the video. I got some comments from women that, you know, a lot of personal attacks on my YouTube channel with the comments. Those disappeared though. Like I didn't actually remove them, so I'm not so sure. I think if you swear too much or if you say certain things in the comments that don't follow the community standards, YouTube will delete your messages. So don't think I did it. I don't care. It's not normally what I'm going to do, but yeah. So people were it's a hot topic. We'll put it like that. Hit the subscribe button, by the way, and notification bell. And let's dig into this a little bit. I want to give you the rundown of this. Now, when I say cucking, and I explained in the previous video, but I'll kind of give a definition again. So when I say cucking, what I'm referring to is diminishing. I won't say degrading, although often that is the case, but we'll say diminishing one man sexually with another. So that's the best way to describe it. It's diminishing somebody else sexually, whether she's doing it just up here and not sharing it with anybody, or whether she's actually verbally doing that, or doing it through small behaviors and words and things that she's saying. But she's diminishing one man over another. Okay. Thing about cucking, based on that definition, is every single woman on earth does this, period. You cannot get away from it. That's like saying it goes hand in hand with hypergamy. So we know that women are hypergamous, that is their nature. Well, cucking or diminishing other men is a result of that nature. Okay. If she has to see somebody as the best, that means consequently she has to see the rest as less than that man, which means that she's going to diminish those other men. Okay. So if she's been through, everybody in her sexual past, and if she's with you and you're her best, she's diminishing in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just up here. Okay. She's diminishing those other men that she's been with. And quite frankly, that's how it should be, right? If she's in a happy relationship with somebody, it would be unhealthy, not good, and a recipe for a failure in a relationship. It won't last, put it that way. The relationship will not last. She'll never love the guy if she sees somebody else in her past as better than the person she's with. So how cucking should work, because it's going to happen anyway, if it's going to happen in a healthy manner, okay, is that she sees the man that she is with as her sexual best. Every other man is below that, okay? And there's a certain feeling that she gets with that. Arousal is one of them. Knowing she's with her best is arousing to her. Knowing she's with someone who is better than another guy that she is in her head diminishing, it brings her desire, brings her arousal up. Okay. That's just a fact. So when she cheats on a guy, this is why oftentimes cheating is so passionate for women, and they're even more inclined to get pregnant, more inclined to orgasm. I mean, studies have shown women are more inclined to have stronger, more frequent orgasms with guys they're cheating with than with their primary partners. So why does it happen? Well, it's the cucking aspect of it, because she's diminishing her primary partner, believing that this new person that she is having a fling with is better than her primary partner sexually. And so by believing that brings her arousal and her desire up, while she diminishes the guy at home. And sometimes that arousal is happening to such a degree that diminishing turns into degradation, right? And I talked about in that previous video how some of these women, I was really surprised and shocked to find out when I was, just sort of going around and banging women and not having much, care about the consequences. How many of these women who had husbands, boyfriends, other guys at home, how many of them, which really all of them, okay, weren't just diminishing the guys at home, but they were outright degrading to those guys when they were cheating, and they were getting aroused by that degradation. Okay. Often though, because women can hold competing ideas at the same time, okay, that arousal would also come with feeling bad. So she would degrade that guy in subtle, covert, or oftentimes overt ways, have harder orgasms knowing that she's degrading this guy at home, and then she would also feel bad about that, also feel like a bad person, feel shame over that. And so that's why this topic brings up such a visceral reaction from females, because females require deception. Deception is part of their nature. When it comes to the sexual marketplace, I'm not trying to disparage women. This is a fact. Men use violence and intimidation to get what they want. Women, being the weaker of the sexes, historically, classically, had evolved to use deception and manipulation to get what they want. It's not a judgment. I mean, certainly a man forcing himself on people, or using violence to get what he wants isn't productive or good, but it is in our nature to do that. Well, deception and manipulation is in female nature. And so the aspect of cucking is always there. It's always prevalent. Now, we have things like cuck fantasies, cuck porn. Well, that's eroticizing this behavior. So what we often do, just like as it said, using necessity as a virtue, we have situations where, okay, a guy doesn't believe he's her sexual best, or he knows he's not her sexual best. He feels like he'll never be her sexual best or another woman's sexual best. So this guy resolves to be in the he has resolved himself to be in the beta position. And so he, out of necessity to try to keep this woman, or keep the women he's with, he will eroticize the beta position and involve himself in cuck fantasies with his woman. This is where his woman gets banged out by a more powerful guy, right? And so you have these scenarios where, I mean, this has been going on for a very long time. You can read Iceberg Slim's memoirs going. And so Iceberg Slim was chronicling, he was a pimp, okay? And he was chronicling a period prior to the 1950s, like World War II era. And he is talking about cucking, guys who would meet with these more powerful black guys in this case, right? It'd be like there's a situation where it was a white couple, and the husband was taking his wife to go get banged out by this guy who was more endowed and more of a physical and specimen, all that stuff. So this is a guy who's eroticizing this cucking situation, right? So cucking is definitely in the hindbrain. It's definitely a part of our evolutionary process. And it only makes sense. If she is after the best genetic option, well, she's going to be aroused by achieving that. But in achieving the better genetic option, that means she has to see the other genetic options as not so good, right? So that requires her to diminish those other options. So when she's looking at someone as her sexual best, she, as a requirement, has to diminish the other options. That includes every single person she's ever slept with. So as men, this is why you're not just like friends with your exes. All right. You can have platonic relationships with exes. I certainly do. I don't have toxic relationships with my exes. Now some I don't talk to for a reason. I have to keep them at a distance because of how they are, but here nor there. I know when I see an ex that she is either cucking me or cucking the other guy. Is it the first thing she thinks about? No. Okay. Is it something that she may even be conscious of? Well, no, she might not be. but it is definitely something that is in that brain of hers. It's definitely something that is in, at the very least, the back of her mind or primal mind. Now, if I have no emotional tie to this, to an ex anymore, I don't care. I actually want my exes to move on, to be happy, and to do well. And I'm not going to, and to do that without me. And I don't need a woman for validation, because that's, if you're an alpha guy, you don't care about validating yourself with a woman. I hope when I interact with an ex that the current guy she's with, she thinks that guy's better than me. I actually want her to believe, if she's in a functional, happy relationship with that person, it's not like her destroying her life or something, right? I want her to believe that that guy, that her current boyfriend, I hope that in her subjective mind, she believes that that guy is better than me. I hope I'm actually the one being cucked, because I don't care what it doesn't, I have no emotional tie to her validation. I'm not with that ex anymore. I'm totally fine with it. And that's how I know I can be platonic with an ex. But when you guys just break up with an ex, particularly if you're not in a position where you could honestly say to yourself, if she thinks this another guy is better than me, I'm happy for her. If you can't honestly say, now that's not the same as eroticizing it, of course. You're not, there's nothing erotic about it. You have no sexual interest in her anymore, right? It's over with. You're moved on to other women, okay? But if you believe, that I really want her to do well, and you know what, if she believes that the person she's with is better than me, I'm happy for her. That's good. If you're in that place now, that states right there, you can have a platonic interaction with an ex, and it's totally fine, right? But if you're not in that place, if your place is, well, I don't want this other guy to be, I'm better than that guy. Like, if that's like what's going on in your mind, you can't have a platonic relationship with your ex. It's not going to work. And so a lot of you guys try to stay platonic with exes, and it's very damaging to your alpha frame. When she moves on, she's with another guy, she's cucking you, most likely, and you're sitting here trying to feel sorry for yourself and seek validation from this ex who's with another man and cucking you over that man. She's subjectively believing, and again, it's subjective, it's not objective, it's what she thinks, it's not what's objectively true, necessarily, right? But yeah, she's she's thinking this other dude, she is banging this other dude. When she runs into you, understand, if she thinks this other guy is better, she is going to have better, harder sex with her current man, at the satisfaction of knowing that she is with a better person, and effectively diminishing you when she does that. That's exactly what she'll do. Her attraction and arousal will go up when that ex, and if that ex is you, if she sees you as lesser than the guy she's with, her attraction for the guy she's with will rise. Her arousal will rise, and that means better sex, better orgasms that evening. So understand, like, you guys who orbit around your exes who are banging other men, you're just helping her have better sex with other men, okay? While she continues to put you in a beta position and diminish you, okay, and so oftentimes degrade you for that other guy. This is why friendships are not the same when you've had sex with that person. Okay. So back to the understanding of this, because this kind of blew a lot of guys' minds here. But yes, cucking is 100%. I mean, every single woman does it. If she's had sex with someone before, okay, then she does this. She has to. It's part of hypergamy. When she has sex with someone, that person gets more or less cataloged in her brain on a hierarchy. All right. Now, she could have two guys she banged. She doesn't even think about those guys, and she couldn't tell you who's better because she was drunk both times or whatever, right? But either way, push comes to shove, she would have one of those guys slightly above the other one. Okay, if she could really remember and dive into that. But in her brain, every person she's had sex with, even had sexual interest with, is on a hierarchy. And so somebody is better than somebody else, which means effectively there's the guy at the top, and then everybody else that falls underneath that is diminished for that guy who's at the top. And so that's what alpha widowing is, and how that fits in is that there's a guy in her past who is at the top, and then the guy that she's currently with, she effectively has to diminish that guy sexually. She doesn't want to, she doesn't mean to, she doesn't do it maliciously. That's just what happens. She knows that her ex-boyfriend from college or whatever it was a better lay and more sexually attractive to her than the current guy she's with. And she'll do mental gymnastics and do a lot of things to try to justify her current relationship, but she can't get away from it. In her brain, she is cucking her current guy. And most relationships, a woman is cucking her current guy. Most women are not with the guy that's her sexual best. Okay, most women are in a relationship where they hope the guy could someday be that way, or they have settled with a guy who just isn't, and they don't believe they'll ever meet the guy that could outdo or match the previous guy. And so she has to now, back to deception, has to deceive the guy she's with, make him think that he's the one for her, when the guy that's the one for her was somebody else. And so when she sleeps with that guy, effectively, she cucks him every single night, every single time. She thinks about, even if it's just back in that hindbrain, what that other guy had sexually that's better than her current partner. And she'll feel shame about that too, on top of it, you know, when she spends alone time. And this is a series of articles and a series of studies. You know, it's hard to find good studies on it, but high percentages of women are imagining, there's something like 60% will actually imagine a previous partner while they're with a current partner. So if you're not her sexual best, there's a good chance when you're having sex with her, she is closing her eyes and thinking about that guy who was better than you. That's clearly diminishing you for another man, isn't it? So that's cucking. So that's kind of a nutshell of what cucking is and how it fits in. It's they can't get away from it. It's what they do. So you can't get mad about it. You can't get upset about it. And the fact that women are deceptive, you can't get mad or upset about that either. I mean, that is part of the nature. I mean, they're going to settle with a guy if they think that they can't do better than the guy that was in her past, that was her best. So they'll settle with you. So the key is you just don't allow that to happen. The key is that you accept this for what it is. You accept the cold hard truth about this, and you make sure that you're not going to be victimized by this aspect of female nature. All right. How you do that is you don't give away your commitment unless you know you're her sexual best. I mean, this is sort of the ongoing theme on my channel and on other people I work with, their channels. It's how do you not complicate your life with women? How do you not destroy your life with women, screw yourself up with women? A big part of it is not getting one-itis and not settling for somebody who doesn't see you as her best. That's the biggest part. But you have to really understand, I mean, because some of you guys, you do all kinds of mental gymnastics to justify bad behavior with women, to justify your one-itis, to justify your bullshit. Okay, a lot of you guys do that. And so if understanding cucking is going to help you not do that, then that's good. But you have to understand. So understand it, okay? Understand that you're either on the side of it where you're her best, and therefore everybody else is diminished. And it's kind of let her do that. Let her diminish in her mind those other men. When she runs into that guy that she's had sex with before in a public place, and she's like, yeah, I used to date this guy or whatever. Well, here, let me go say hi. Let me introduce you. All right. When she's doing that and she's clearly acting like she's with you and happy about it, she's cucking that other guy. All right. And that's fine. That she has to. Her hypergamous brain is always questioning, am I with the better guy? And so she has to look for that proof. And so when you run into a guy that she's been with before and she wants to compare you to, that's how they are. So women are. And she wants to compare you to, and then be happy that the person that she's with now is better than this other person. She will be more aroused by you when she diminishes this other guy who's been inside of her. All right. That's how they operate. You need to accept that for what it is. Now, if she is introducing you and giving this guy long, lingering hugs and real handsy with him and ignoring you like you're standing there like you're a bump on a log that doesn't exist, and she's not acting like she's with you while she really catches up with this other guy, guess who's probably being cucked right now? Probably not the other guy, right? Probably you. And so that's a good indicator just to completely walk away from that woman. It's 2020. She's going to have a sexual past. Your jealousy instinct's going to be on overdrive. Talked about this in other videos. Don't let it ruin your ability to be happy with somebody. Okay. But at the same time, don't allow yourself to accept being less than the top position. If that happens to you, or if you see that that's what's going on, it's fair to just walk away from her and don't look back. You don't deserve that. You deserve somebody who sees you as her best, because understand the dark nature of this, right? And so you don't want to be on the side of being diminished for somebody else. It's damaging for who you are as a man. You cannot walk around being that alpha guy, having that high level of confidence, even being on your purpose, seeing yourself as valuable, making that dent in the universe. You can't walk around and be that guy if you're accepting a woman in your life. Ooh, knock my mic over. If you're accepting a woman in your life that doesn't see you that way, and in fact diminishes you for other men, whether it's men in her past or potential men right in front of her, you can't be your best self and simultaneously accept that behavior from a woman. So don't. All right. Understand the nature of cucking. Understand what it is. Don't eroticize it. I mean, you can do a porn search on any of the sites. This is a very popular search. It's being eroticized now. Guys are giving up. Guys are more feminine now. And so they're giving up the idea that they'll be a chick's best. So you have to understand how sexual strategies work. Beta strategies are in existence because they do work. They're just not, they don't work as well. They're not as effective. The guy who does the beta strategy isn't going to be as happy, isn't going to be as secure with his life. I mean, it's not the best strategy for a man, but they do work. So when that guy is the beta male orbiter who orbits around in his friend zone by several women that he's interested in, to a small degree that works. Sometimes women sleep with that guy. They never see him as the guy that they're really happy to sleep with. And oftentimes that guy is third or fourth choice and they settle with that guy. How about the guy who she makes him wait until she's 30 after she runs around through as much alpha D as possible, can't secure the guy she wants several times over. So then she settles for that really good friend he's been there all along. It's the romantic comedy theme, right? Which is the nice guy who just waits for her. And then, she throws her lady parts around to all the guys that don't care about her. And then, oh man, you were here all along, that narrative. Well, what is that? You know what I mean? That's a guy who he's allowing this woman to settle with him, right? He's accepting that. A lot of men nowadays are just not they're not men, they're not masculine, they're not alpha, they're not dominant. So they're willing to accept this beta position. Yeah, that friend zone beta thing to secure a mate, that does work sometimes, which is why guys do it. But of course, you know, he's her fourth choice. He gets put in what? Resource slave category and transactional sex category. It's a terrible existence, but you know, we're going to feminized society is going to sell that one as being the dream come true, right? Similar with this, though, guys who decide to go polyamory, and I'm not talking about harem style where you have threesomes with women and other women involved, or you're with multiple women, but I'm talking about where you're allowing her to bang other dudes. So polyamory, where she bangs other dudes, that's a guy accepting the idea that I'm never going to be this girl's alpha or her best or anyone's for that matter. So in order to keep her, I need to accept that her banging other guys. And then even if I can eroticize it, you know, then I can eroticize my own shame and my own inadequacy, then I'll survive this and I'll have a mating partner. You see, that actually works, unfortunately, but how happy is that guy? So I don't recommend polyamory in the sense where she bangs other dudes. That's diminishing to a man's sense of value in his alpha frame. But more than that, just allowing yourself to be cucked at all is diminishing your alpha frame. And if she sees you as her sexual best, she'll never do that to you. But if she doesn't, she is doing that to you. It's very binary. There is no middle ground here. Someone's being cucked. It's either you or it's the other guys. Okay. And so you need to make sure that it isn't you. You need to make sure that she is diminishing the other guys for you. Now, if she is now willing to diminish those other guys for you, or if there's a couple, if there's like that guy in her past that she refuses to diminish in any way, in other words, refuses to see you as better or to even state that, or avoids that, or gets uncomfortable about that, don't be with that woman. I'm telling you, kick her ass to the curb and get back out there. All right. So a little bit of an expansion of that video I did before. It was very popular. A lot of women hate this because this is something that women, all of them do. And they're ashamed about that, you know, because on the one hand, of course, I mean, they care about, like, women look at it like this, like, I don't do that. Like, I care about my ex. I don't want him to do bad. I want him to have a good life and move on. Right. I mean, of course, that's how they feel, you know, so they don't want to diminish this guy that's an ex, but they have to, or else they're either diminishing him or they're diminishing the guy they're with. It's completely binary. There are no other choices. The fact that they get more aroused at diminishing the other person is shameful to them. They hate that aspect about themselves. And so that hatred comes out as attacks. So I'll get attacked and told how terrible I am for talking about female nature like this or whatever, you know. But you do best, I mean, women listening to this stuff, you do best just to accept the way that it is. My advice to women is don't be degrading towards other men about that if you want to, but know that this is part of your nature, and just make sure that the guy that you finally settle in with to be in a commitment with, make sure that that guy actually is better than the other guys, so that you're not having to be deceptive and manipulative and deceptive to yourself as well as others. But anyway, that's cucking. That's an expansion of it. Hopefully you understand it even more now, because some of you guys are like, what in the hell? I mean, that video got a lot of, compared to the amount of subscribers I have and the amount of views I usually get, that video got a lot of views right away. And there were a lot of people who are like, kind of had their minds blown by this concept. So hopefully this expands on it a little bit more and gives you a little bit more information about it, a little bit better understanding. Thanks again.